Thou art. Ashes scatter, scatter sun's reflections on that dust of which thou art. Cohering whole, whole sum of parts and more, capturing light at an angle to glint. Light quality, quality beyond shades of doubt, to grace a grain of ambulant dust. Meaning specks, specks to float as wind blows, lit by rays to there, then, here, and now. Being miracle, miracle to thee alone and here, to reflect on, be reflected upon. Pollinated consciousness, consciousness of bright and dark becoming, from accidental solar source begotten fleck. Scatter ashes, ashes of a sun's reflections on that dust of which thou art. Eco-anguish. The seas warm up on planet Earth and polar ice caps melt. A bad hand for our life and times has now been truly dealt. Aggressive sun through ozone weak, and trembling all have felt. So looms the end of history for Firbolg and for Celt. Dodging the electro-smog and Chernobyl fallout, survival in the balance is the issue without doubt. Doom prophets from the rooftops are heard to shout and shout, in desperation trying to turn tides about. While I sit and sip warm coffee in the long grass of the copse, and throw some pallid verses to Cerberus as sops, grey vapour shrouds the ruins and the conifer tree-tops. The anguished soul of nature away my salt tears mop. anew, anew. Not one chirpy bird heart will miss a beat, not one single sculthorn less new day will greet upon your imminent passing. No Dougal stranger will turn a hair, how could a spalpeen start with any dart of care upon your imminent passing? In sunlight stark will no earthly surface reflect less, Grian Nectatnu continuing its cool, unmoved caress upon your imminent passing. Not one bog frog will sudden sit to pay some heed, its fossila feed well focused on a tasty weed upon your imminent passing. Life goes on as idle thought, quiet you lie to rest, so feel flahul. This day unveils that personal best, be your imminent passing. Farmature. As truck rush kills along this road, shakes foundations of my abode, when I go, who'll get this land? Who in my will I glad hand? Euro handouts arrive in post, through this nation, coast to coast. Inspectors rage round every field, while I struggle, there well heeled. As downpours on hay explode, they ride in from Spain well tanned, smirking at my soggy load, how I then curse that bureau band. I farm well, but that's no boast, there's more to this than per cow yield. Sitting down to morning toast, I wonder if my fate is sealed. Reaping simply what I sowed, of what I've got making the most, but how I wish some might me goad to bury deep ancestral ghosts, to leap a drain like frenzied toad, to all my worldly wisdom yield, to paint my face with purple woad, to jump at change without this shield, to doubt a future safe but bland, to be for spirit brave new host, to choose for image bright new brand, to see what profits then I grossed. From here to dream is quickly spanned, prior laws through will repealed. Soon my life's small load of sand will see some nuggets uncongealed. Shell shedded. Sheds with the heads that conspired to erect them, instant datability. A few from the 40s stem, more smack of the 50s. That look in the eyes and regret at the passing of time and the size are foregone conclusions, stamped dead certs bred from nothing but the cut of a disused shell of a shed. Smallholder self-made, for himself a made match, proprietor of rusted galvanize and a keynote latch, admitting by its shine 40 winters of openings, metronome bent to long fetid dung forkings, and closings, for sure, and red oxide paint peelings, wondering why and how long, what for and what feelings. Memorial cards fading to fates in flames gone, dour dogmatic observance of rituals gone wrong, no space in such shed for thinking, for badness, dissent without question, a sure sign of madness, Holy Mass every Sunday, those who didn't receive, proud priest of confession was loath to reprieve. Outmaneuvered, outmoded, driven out of his mind by slick schemes of a rural protectionist kind, headage forms running riot in an unquiet brain, rats scurry, shed slurry running pure down the drain. Stout pillars and posts went up once with pure pride, now from pillar to post, time long past for a bride. Cows bow out. They sensed that something was amiss afoot, pulled headlong from their secure stable by those gentle hands which had so often put them through their milking paces, so well able. Pulled up a ramp, this was no usual grassy rut. Shouts and sticks echo off the gable, stumbling, falling, feelings in the milky gut of strange change in their master, himself unable now to stem or cool the cruel tears that cut his cheeks, his history fast becoming fable. Human holds on frisky calves by the tail and nose, a generation destined never to release its fruit through human hands, compounding Jack's black woes. Soon headless in an abattoir, just now appearing cute, gazing through the lurry crates under circling crows, cold, vulture-eyed, each forlorn, waiting brute, a telling testimony to how a way of life just froze, just like that, on camera, at once eloquent and mute. Now all are in, no need for further guiding blows. Those sundew nudging noses have had their final route. Pucked door swings shut on its muck-baptized hinges, as stable door confesses its first sign of rust. Dog lingers useless in the yard, half-knowing cringes. Wind shoves down from Knockanore its bleak-knowing gust. Heavy Ballyegan air breathes out its morning tinges, throwing extreme unction to time's carcass as a crust. Wheels of lurry on a small road flatten floral fringes. Wheels of progress on tradition turn trust to dust. The rest is silence. Flow has stopped. Forms to fill, singes Jack's spirit now in penance. But EU's holy orders are a must. Thank you. Thank you. Squeezed out. He's what you might call a quiet, unassuming kind, good-naturedly at one with nature, pasture signed, posture delivered by years on a stool beside a cow, sitting, leaning, reaching, squeezing in dedicated bow. You can tell he's not used to talking while milking, with an eye for what an even squirt and not a word can bring. His practiced hands reach back a good 10,000 years. Rule of fingers, rule of thumbs, in this man hears its knell of death. Long drawn out way has had its day. Rule of fingers, rule of machine hums, now makes the hay, while the sun shines or steps aside for cats and dogs a brain. Squeezed out, the clasping human hand will never be the same again. Naturally will he miss this vocation. He shivers, shudders, spirit drained and hanging as once fresh-milked udders. Days and hands devoid of use, redundant, mellow, hollow. Bereft on bog boreen, briars abundant, no cows follow. Laden with memories of sounds in a bucket richly splashing. White frothy plumes glinting in sunlight, in flight flashing. Last free ranger day immortalized with a camera. Real shot of a millennial legacy, no ephemera. Fade-outs reflecting time immemorial gone. Ramp leaves no cow to stamp again, not one. Screen soundtrack overdubs a whole heritage as Jack back to his bog retreats, and in hot sun last cowpats dry and crack. Heyday 1919, Malachy Raftery. It's 5 this spring morning as I tackle our ass. For Cashel Fair a good lot will me pass. Like Andy Mulryan in his pony and trap, some salt with the bacon were a Catherine wrap. For me pipe a half-quarter of Bindigo plug, on the cart will I cover up knees with a rug. Last week's Freeman's Journal to soften me seat, last look at the haggard swept up nice and neat. Glen Road do I know well from going to mass, to there will the donkey need never a tap. Up from Sunnoff Road by Clonlara and Frass, the blackthorn stick will stay in me lap. Down by Ballymoe I get out me tin mug, dropping of spring water a few keerogues will heat. Take halter down over the poor ass's lug, his belly band off as he stretches his feet. If I meet a stray tan, I'll give him no mass. Well down on my head, the cap I'll just tug. All over the place roams that black foreign class. In the next field to hell, their graves will be dug. In some fields with May on its way, there's good grass. At Adrigoul I saw 2 or 3 roods of beet. I mustn't forget to get that pane of glass, and after the fair, and a few cuts of fresh meat. To 3 Cartrick man there we all gave a clap. From the trough at the pump the ass took a big slug. On the way home I hope there'll be no mishap. Back end of the cart needs a new wooden plug. Under straddle the engine mail bag gives a flap. With the wind in me back by Barna to meet. The cousins from Meelick helped them fence up that gap and put up on the shed the new galvanised sheet. Flesh water quay, narrow expanse unwaved by any gale, cold flushes from dome to soak, no sails nor fish nor buoying salt, not yet. Tread on deceptively rooted lilies to be preserved for all time by unmarkable plot, 30 foot under ancient saline root. Bobbing cotton blooms bending northeast to wake the lost in a landlocked lake, fringed by flesh traps, quietly ravenous. Perilously leaning over to stick a spider on their decoy droplets, brazen saliva of hunger, still tempting fate to be. Perennial sundew, You who grew to evening view of the last May day, of 3rd Mays from year of our Lord, to give her her due, will probably not in this here climate brew, see as now, sunset from blue over bog cotton strewn, to wild bird twitters new, funeral bell clear from glen, crow just caws, cows loo, sheep bleat too, a roof hammered, sundews feel as touching glue. Ferns sensuously uncurling anew under alto cumulus askew, dried lichen wiry by drain on cue, breeze enough to midge's shoe, startled pheasants protest, apart from few engines spew, not too far from a round 1,000 years ago, not much ado. What past or future better flew than swallowed present, as evening lines drew the last May day of 2nd Mays from year of our Lord, to give her her due, tomorrow June. Vacuum gleaner. Some cutaway swaths adjoining rough raised peat are tidy fenced and glaring green, while others, unkempt, spurt rushes any chin could meet, lot of moribund makeshifter mean. To reclamation some ambitions were driven with white heat, since famine laid low lean, by nature claims the rest were riven, paralyzed clay feet, self-betterment unsensed, unseen. Man as nature abhors the vacuum's calmly airless cleat, neither towards it leans serene. But man's tillage for a market is as vacuous as its neat, all hail 9 rows of bean, headland scraping dourly to complete last load of beet, all hail 9 tons so clean. Why not just extensify, rank rush and weed glad greet, where blank industry had been? What use is it, poor patch of ground, blind man's or nature's seat? From utility pray wean. Back turned something always fills it with growth which none can beat, springing lush and keen. Cultivation, so to see, as calamitous, cruel self-cheat. Look, man, to your spleen. In flash of time, brown peat rebuilds, to all before delete. Surrender, soil-slick sheen. Mantra footing. Across the bog on a summer's morning, on a summer's morning across the bog. Tim Murray of Ballydangan, by Athlone, Raftery Esquire's 1950s man, owned a loud motorcycle, me 7, and a repetitive throttle of humour. For every time he saw this store lurker, did he endlessly, monotonously intone, across the bog on a summer's morning, on a summer's morning across the bog. Across the bog on a summer's morning, on a summer's morning across the bog. Beaten catechism, heating still by heart from the national, was never as in-drilled. Lust, anger, gluttony, envy, sloth, penance, extramunction, holy orders. Tim's order, his mantra wash, could have been dirtier, like take a bog hole running jump. Across the bog on a summer's morning, on a summer's morning across the bog. Across the bog on a summer's morning, on a summer's morning across the bog. On 40 years, in the fullness of place, fullness of times with diurnal rhythm, where all new lines are trotted, aired, and hoary verse rots. Lichen, sweet gale textures, second nature, seasons through, lolling, lingering longer, deeper, longer. Across the bog on a summer's morning, on a summer's morning across the bog. Across the bog on a summer's morning, on a summer's morning across the bog. So gear formation years, vocation hears, brainwash bemusing, Ballydanger backsheesh, itchy feet let loose in the head, feet head fitted for flititch noose, hypnoambulant going and froing, snow prints, sun prints, unprintable imprints, across the bog on a summer's morning, on a summer's morning across the bog. Across the bog on a summer's morning, bending to wit's end, well gone chaffoge, looking at the living in blank unverse, universe the vivid ghosts of long goners, not fully finished, fallen in the toilets, to let noticed signing away title to vitality, signature approaching unsure, immature, X, on encroaching oblivion footing, broaching a last, arthritic ended, running jump to finish with, on a summer's morning across the bog. Peatgeist. I can almost see new graveyard in the distance, which slink of eye would suck my scant remains. So now through sunlit heather I reel dance, divine designs for some transtemporal gains. Ghost tunnel out from dead end with persistence, spirit sheltered there while up above it rains. Appear as apparition past raised bog fence, white hover there, no body aches or pains. At poltergeist fox throws unthreatened glance, calm otter sniffs my sweet scent as moon wanes. Pool frogs croak mating in tight throes of romance, will course my elan vital through their veins. As mossy mounds mark merry minds advance, by flurried brooks that pulse from pink peat plains, sheer joy shaped by a fleshless fond remembrance of unmortified myth-making on those lanes. Forevermore here high heath I'll enhance, if Dionysus in his wisdom dark so deigns. So now I'll fling mere mortal thoughts on chance of immortal rain through such silt-grown seed grains. If not, through tunnel back to box I'll prance, Salute same skull which never countenanced brains. On life as death long lovingly look askance, to soulful sleep sunk free from restless chains. Yew stew. My mother's skull is nearly shiny new, though thoughtless there through 30 thuless years. Grandmother's now is rutted, so one fears, in older grave neath dismal drooping yew. Of hers before fade fragments long past leers, dispersed eye sockets sandy far from tears. For skull for then dust traces now so few, thin texture of sweet soil it nears and nears, away from all called substance it steadily veers, giving not one lumpy bit to smooth earth stew. And so 400 or just 4 steps back, chain of unexhumed existence ulcerates underground. In far-flung fields of hillocks, one-time mound of stricken forebear stretched upon rude rack, another fallen to the fierce predator's bound, clawed quick, clean chewed, gave gasp for final sound. Then wandering victim of some storm-tossed tack, remains rock-wrecked by kinsfolk never found, as cutting cascades crumbled cliffs around. Long languish lynx lugubrious in sperm-sodden species sack. Aneurysm. Not a hint of a warning to temper the morning, something gave in his brain, in a dart beyond pain, sudden bolt from the blue, without any foreclue. Elton was taken, all about him forsaken. 26 in his prime, without reason or rhyme, fate singled him out, in a good God we doubt. Now autumn leaves red, on a young grave are shed. All leaves drop in time, but spring fall seems a crime. Frail thread of life, grim reaper's cold knife, cuts in a flash, souls of loved ones to lash. No explanation, just set mind on salvation. All ends are nigh, see how quick spirits fly. That young man's demise can well open our eyes to what is existence. All it is persistence. Lifespan charts are written by divinity smitten with up and down moods as humanity broods. For a few seasons is this earth our snug little berth on a strange solar orbit who couldn't be morbid. This high noon passing fast could well be our last, so look out and look up, drinking deep from this cup. Grieve and go on, all hearts become one. Storms rage in each head before it lies dead. Sufferance is our lot, frostbite fight from year dot, picking up pieces nature brooks no long leases. Worship in your own way, giving thanks night and day, for it all being here, no trembling or fear. Back with our own people, bell soon tolls from the steeple, for you and for me, freshless souls soaring free. Birds still hover and fly in the lit elfin sky, cows loo for milking, Kerry still seeks its real king. Winds blast knocking o'er, farmer spreads the manure, young man laid to rest by these very things blessed.
Go, Rip. Yes. Go. Come on, yes, get out. Come on. Come on, come on. Go. That's it, no, it's it.
I step down now.
Yeah, right. Kaya din na rin inside.
Yeah.
Don't let it.
Okay.
No, we might come back in. We can get you in there again.
We might be back again.
What is that? We've got to play club.
No man's hand. I am Clondoyle O'Kelly with good belly for fight, night long, dog in hand, pacing round no man's land. From my seat, just a stone's throw, my life is complete, if that bog corner title falls to me, dint of feet. I am Mount Kelly Brown, hoping Kelly will drown, as I gaze over Turlough to rough edge of my lands. That one flooded acre is more precious to me than the 1,000 in Meelick and Barna, Dam, Darcy. I am New Forest Darcy, I display Tinuto mercy to tenantry lean east of Loch Lurrigeen. My property no jumped up Brown or Clonkelly will steal, though that plot spot be oft soft as jelly. I am Raftery on Filla, a good 100 years onwards, from squabbling of 3 noble names pacing games, concocting just there a good title, No Man's Land, for next verse collection, ghost-licked lines from my hand. Malachy's Jubilee. In his ass and cart coming home from the fair of Castlerea, my grandfather Malachy had a frying pan. How much did he relish lighting his roadside turf sods and feeding alone, having sold 2 pigs and bought the salt and flour for home. Such picnicking in early century penury was unusual apparently, but frugal man that he was, he liked to brew his own tea. After 10 years in Manchester brickyard, hodman out, no groan, 25 shillings a week, a pound saved, home across foam, amounting to 500, rich enough to marry in, regal Raftery, to Catherine Burke of Sunnach, with whose holding he was finally free. As much as you made in 10 years did I in one call of the phone, said unfeeling tycoon to him once, mocking, sarcastic, overblown. Well, if you did, came his answer, which could only be lame, no glee. I wouldn't like to make it like that, that wouldn't be for me. On clear nights circling the house, tobacco pipe couldn't be blown, inside in English digs, an ingrained custom he retained in bone. A creaking gate at gable end signalled the patterned circuitry. Visiting neighbour jesting remarked, Malachy's doing the Jubilee. Hand-tilling in his new land with just his tools for company, Malachy insured himself to quite uncommonly high degree. Not just 1 fork, but 2, in case one broke in stubborn loam. 2 spades, 2 shovels too, each sticking there like rigid clone. So by tools of trade encircled, he dug with light heart gravity, hat hung on one, on next the jacket, and so on, which gives the key to his mind. I'll show my tools while digging like a drone, my clothes pegged there are safe, and cannot away roam.
Oh, that was the thing they used to always on go.
Yeah.
They would live down in the...
Young Michael Donlan, old Malachy oft said, looking serious, wistful, from his head what he read, put a little bit away for the rainy day, for the sun won't always shine. You'll never be as young as you are today, so take heed to what I say. A man's best friend is his pocket in the end, so always put a little bit away.
Here.
Good advice, Mick, huh?
Oh, sound advice. Sound advice, a very good advice now.
New pony and trap from carted ass, a big step up for Malachy, gift from his son who wanted to be part of the aristocracy. Up he was put, but when trapdoor was shut, nowhere was he going. Don't close that door, a trap is a trap, shouted he in panicky tone. Whurra, do you think I'm some rat in all your fine stupidity? Take that door off now altogether, and if you don't, leave me be. On fair day he was known to march into his bank in Glenamaddy, pace around a while, no transaction. Can I help you, Mr. Raftery? I just came in to see the time, he'd say with expression of stone. Or, when I was in before, I might have happened to drop me comb. But those who knew him knew so well what exactly he wanted to see, that the place was busy, wouldn't go down, his savings still insolvency. In Meelick and Manchester he was shaped by grim austerity, which allowed from time to time a tiny trace of levity. Taste for chocolate he'd acquired in foreign brickyard zone. Where would that be sold round here, if it be at all known? Asked once a mocking cousin of this tasteful true celebrity, who now past pan, pipe, forks and spades is insured for all eternity.
Either sides of the water. Open the.
Urbe et Orbe. First budded batch of beech leafings, last of a century. First May week, spring a sudden surprise to savour, more than usual, sharpened by underfoot and overhead dryness after downpours. Absurd on an ashfield double ditch, seeing out my century, fanfare of birdsong and almost lost love's labour, nothing unusual, to time and place so deeply half-wed, with just ajar perception doors. For 1,000,000 years and more, exact 100 times a century, each time round, did blooming engine never waver, from usual greens, with all crushing hush, by daylight led above all forest floors. This one bare instant now, burgeoning at a culminated century, all birth and rebirth everywhere, to every time a favour, encapsulates what's usual, equates the very living with the dead, distinctions and distinctiveness ignores. What is this bud, that bird, its song? What's yet another century? What is this beating bleat here now, its pulsing semi-quaver, in cosmos-wide grand tablature, with no note left unsung, unsaid, ubiquitous, deep-set heart chords.
Man, that's very nice. Yeah.
He went to school.
Uncanny. For her is this hike fleet flurry of smells, hither then thither through dandelioned dells, chasing a hare or some freshly laid scent, where night-prowling fox just recently went. Sniffing sweet air, olfactory brain, wanders within and along every drain, absorbed by mere moment that alone is real, snout-led by nature with inspiring zeal. This consistent companion consummately excels, incensing what every and each whistle meant, ranging lithe loose-limbed all over green fells, rounding up loose sheep to herd mission bent, stretched without consciousness of any strain, betrothed to task with no tinge of appeal, in temerity treading the threshold of pain, then demurely and supine quick coming to heel. Canine good nature always naively tells how her human handler did habitually train, with respect which all casts of cruelty repels, coming with current and going with grain. For us history's dawning triggered death knells, of oneness with nature ever louder they peal, but animal souls still are summoned by bells, Gaia fusion to fasten in each fibre feel. We may rue and revile, rave, rant and repent, the reduction of wisdom, urban pox and stain, but now all must know old communion is rent, eroded in us as by acidified rain. Dumb dog did this deluge deny any dent, from her artifice never could animus steal. If our old cosmic assets are so sundered and spent, rejoice if some species secured riper deal. Reed breeze. October breeze rustles wilted reeds against each other, moving, swaying, almost grating, even, whitened, headless stalks, as if something or someone were coming. Noise over growth to the wind's bluster. But nothing and no one comes there, just fickle gusts from Carrantubber and beyond, sweeping to responding earth, sound and motion to lift unheard and unseen meanings by the multitude from overpowering stillness. Hark, there must be something there.
Yeah, fine, yeah.
He was the man that used to
Ace of place. You well may have strong sense of place, but does that seamless, sensual place have any sense at all of you? Place beyond all common sense of feeling, sedgy heather incense wafts for itself and not to you. Investing there amazing grace, gone, no footprint, dent or trace, place captures others, buries you. Go worship in its thickets dense, minding fixed there, tense wire fence, prayer unheard, hard place damns you. Till there or reap for profit base, like hungry rat upon his race, displacing place can just cheat you. There sit and take its pointed hints of attachments body rinse, free from place there's space in you. Utapos Erewhon, Echec log, ectopic case, strumming of sweet species bass, laced with aces, us as you.